All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Collin EOY. This is my 2025-2026 end of year report. So this year, I really got into golf in the summer. That's been like a really good pastime of mine. I really enjoy playing. And as I was reflecting on the year, I was looking at the pillars again, and I kind of thought that it might be a good idea to represent my year and the pillars of Top Scholar as a round of golf. So the first thing that I'm talking about is the pillar of knowledge. So in my mind, this is like gearing up, getting your clubs ready, all the tees you need. For me, golf knowledge was getting my gear ready, everything I learned this year, equipped with the tools I need to succeed. So my first thing in the pillar of knowledge is my study abroad. So with the support of the Top Scholar program, I got to go study abroad in Hualcayan, Peru for medicine and community. So while I was there, I learned a ton of things. I got to go to museums, go to archaeological sites. I got to take an anthropology class in Spanish. I got to learn about medical Spanish. I even got to teach a class to the locals about how to speak English while I was learning to speak Spanish. So there's a ton of great things I learned while I was in Peru. Something really unique I also got to do is visit local hospitals and clinics in Peru. And it really showed me how important social, economic, and cultural context is when looking at medicine. Something unique about the area that we were in was that a lot of the patients coming to clinic had to deal with chronic back pain and things like that, just because in the area that we were in, physically demanding and really laborious work was the norm. So a lot of people would come in for pain medication and things like that, which is something that's honestly not super common in, I think, San Antonio or Houston. And it gave me some unique insight for my application to school. Something also super important about my time in Peru was how important community was. So while I was there, I'm going to be honest, when I first got to Peru, my Spanish was not the best. And I'm not going to say it's the best now. But I was super nervous because I wasn't really sure how I was going to interact with everyone. And Dr. Richardson helped me just throw myself into speaking Spanish. So I would talk to locals every day at night. After talking with locals all day, he'd ask us to go meet with him one-on-one in Spanish, just tell him how the day went. So the first day I was nervous. By day 13, I think, I was just super into the entire trip. I remember my favorite memory was on day 13, 12 or 13. This couple in the bottom right, Jonathan and Myra, they were always helping us out with meals and things like that. And that's their son, Nico. He's the best. I have a ton of videos with him. But we were all in the kitchen just cooking food. And for me, if you know me, my preferred way to communicate with people and bond with people is just humor. So I like telling jokes and stuff. And while I was in Peru, by that point, I'd practiced enough to where I'd say not fluent, but conversational with about everyone. So I was just telling jokes in the kitchen. We were all laughing because I was talking about our hike and all the stuff that happened because it was like a 2-day hike. And it was the best memory, probably top 5 memories I've ever had in my life. I didn't even know that I would get something so invaluable in a study abroad trip. I was going with like the impression of just getting my knowledge up with facts like Spanish words and things like that. But I learned about the cultural side knowledge and how important that is. I learned how easier it is to learn a language when you're fully immersed with all the people instead of in high school when I was learning Spanish in a class and I would speak it for 30 minutes a day and then go back to English. So it was a really good experience. I got to meet a ton of people. I learned language. I learned about food and a bunch of different things. It was a truly great experience. My next pillar of knowledge is research and the MCAT. So this year I studied for the MCAT. Here's my Anki remote. There's Ninja Nerd. I love his videos. So if you're studying, I would really recommend watching his videos. He goes pretty in depth. And I just learned about work ethic, how important it is to space out your studying. It's really important as BME. Sometimes there's a lot of assignments due, so you're doing stuff in crunch time, but this isn't something that you can really do that with. So I studied a lot. I also learned about how important mentorship is. Audie gave me so much advice. We've probably talked for like 100 hours this semester at least. She's always giving me advice, telling me what I should be doing, telling me what I shouldn't be doing, and it was really, really useful, all her MCAT tips. So I hope to give that to the younger freshmen whenever it's y'all's time. But that was super great, and I learned about knowledge, not just being facts, but how to integrate it, because the way you think is really important on the MCAT rather than just knowing the material. And yeah, next would be research. So this year I joined the Gonzalez Porras Fat Lab. My research was over cancer cachexia. In the fall semester, I was focused on data analysis. So I would get already gathered data and then make figures, present data in lab meetings and things like that. I learned that, and it's actually a core competency for medical school when you apply scientific inquiry and thinking. The research showed me how important it is that you're able to draw conclusions just from a set of data. So I would just get pure data images and I would have to draw conclusions from that. I think that's a really valuable skill and it's super applicable to most of the stuff I'm doing. And then in the spring semester, I got to get more wet lab experience, which was something that I asked my PI about. She's been a great mentor to me, and I think it's really good that I can have an open conversation with her about things that I would like to learn and want from the lab. So I talked to her about getting more wet lab experience, and then she helped me. So I learned about growing cells, splitting them, all sorts of things like that. My next pillar is leadership. So when you play golf, you have all your gear ready. It's time to head to the course. So you're driving to holes 1 through 18. You're deciding where to go. For me, leadership was like driving the golf cart, guiding the directions, making decisions, and bringing others along for the journey. My first thing for leadership is being vice president of the pre-medical society. So for pre-medical society, a lot of my duties included working with the president on things that he needed, ordering lab coats, small logistical things like that, organizing medical school tours. The medical school tours were super important for me just because when I was a freshman, I got to go on a tour and I learned about what like a day in the life at medical schools like are at long. So I think it was really important for me to give that opportunity to some of the younger members that we had this year. And also, I think a super important part of my time as vice president of Pre-Med Society was mentorship. I would mentor a few of the members, younger members, even some of the officers, just about what I've done in my my journey to applying to medical school, things that I would change in the past. I've had Detours in the bottom right. He's like that tall guy in the back. He's a freshman. He's asked me we've talked a lot. I've just told him about my mistakes, things that I would change. And it's really cool to see how receptive a lot of like the mentees can be. And he's basically implemented a lot of the advice I've been giving him. And I think he's going to be super successful. So that was a really good part of being vice president of Pre-Med Society. I got to see leadership as a mentor. Also, for leadership this year is my time at Corazon Clinic. So I started the year with being a team lead in a room, and then I kind of realized that I wanted to give more to the clinic. It was something that I was so passionate about, and I just felt like I had more to offer. So I applied to be a trainer, or actually I applied to be part of admin and pharmacy. I interviewed for both of those. I wanted trainer, but there was no position open. So after I interviewed for both of them, I talked to the directors more. They decided to open a trainer spot for me. So things kind of ended up going my way, but it's been super, super great. A lot of my duties as a trainer involve a lot of, I'd say, micromanaging, delegating small tasks, setting new standards. Like I would make that sign I made, it's hanging up in the clinic right now, just showing normal vital signs. Setting new standards as in, what's acceptable on a chart or things like that. It's been really great because I can work directly with the new volunteers, team leads, things like that. And I can really see how the more successful volunteers are the ones that are working hard, but also when trainers give them positive feedback and kind of build up their character and their hopes, it really helps them succeed. So that was a super, super big thing for me. And that's the perfect segue into service. So for me, when you're playing golf, gearing up is cool. Driving the golf cart is very cool. But of course, the most fun part is playing the course. So service was playing the course where I applied everything I learned to make a real impact. My favorite part of golf and my favorite part of college is service. So I kind of doubled up Corazon Clinic here. As my time as a trainer, this year, I've learned something that's been pretty important to me, and I'm kind of just now realizing it. But that's, by the way, top right, that's James Tallarico, if anyone knows who that is. But he came to visit us, and we got to take a picture. In my time at Corazon Clinic, my whole approach to service in the past has always been making an impact on an individual's life, right? So you can see a patient, talk to them, they come back next week, you can see how they improved. Or you're serving food at a shelter, you can give food directly to a patient, see the smile on their face, things like that. And that's still a huge part of service for me. But this year at a clinic, as I've been mentoring new volunteers and teaching them how to take vitals or how to have a patient interview and talk about things like that, I've realized that service isn't just the individual interactions you have, but it can also be building up a system that serves people over time. So I think it's super important for me because I've been working to make a lot of improvements at the clinic, and I think that over a longer period of time, they'll just have a greater impact on serving others in the future. We've done a lot of small things like changing how we do urine analysis tests, or I even worked with Zana, who was president of QL Plus. We had a broken walker that a patient needed. So because I knew Zana, who's a great friend of mine, I was able to ask her to fix the walker for us, brought it back, and now a patient's using it every day. So it's really important to me that you'll see how much volunteering can be, or service can be amplified through building up systems, while also, having those individual interactions. One of the biggest parts of my year was my time working with Make-A-Wish. So I've done two different things. I was a mission delivery intern, and then I always work as a wish granting volunteer. So I kind of just grouped them into this one slide. But basically, the things that I get to do are, for mission delivery intern, I got to do a lot of logistics stuff. So just calling hospitals, getting contact information for some of the wish kids. I also got to organize packets to explain to families what they're going to do on their wish. I even get to, as a wish granting volunteer, talk with the kids individually, ask them about their favorite things, what they want to do for their wish. Where do they want to go? Do you want to go to Disney World? Do you want to go to Japan? All these different things. And it was super cool. In my time as a mission delivery intern, on top of the logistics stuff and all the things I talked about, I got to have some really unique opportunities. So in the top left is a room makeover wish. I went to their house with a few other volunteers, and that's when we started making over their room. So that was their wish, was to have a whole do-over in the room. So we got to go there and actually build it for them, which was super cool. And here, this is me meeting with one of the founders of Make-A-Wish. I got to tell him my story, and it was a really good conversation. We got to talk for a while. He even gave me like a little Make-A-Wish pin that is in my dorm right now. In this picture right here, that is a shopping spree Make-A-Wish that I got to do. So I got to take a kid on a shopping spree. We went to the mall. He just bought whatever he wanted. I think he bought a PS5, an iPad, AirPods, an Apple Pencil. He bought like 5 pairs of shoes, a bunch of clothes. He bought a bag of chips, which was pretty funny. And he just bought a bunch of stuff. And then in the bottom right is me with a dog. I was picking up a dog. I drove like 4 hours away to pick up a dog for a kid. 4 hours there, 4 hours back. But it was a good time because the dog was super cute and he was like licking my hand the entire time I was driving back. But these experiences, and I was just talking about building up a system that serves people over time. This just showed me how a small act of service can have such a huge impact on someone's life. Every time I was with one of the wish kids, they were smiling the whole time. And it just, in a time where they really need support, it was like a ray of light. And it was super, super, super impactful to me just because of my journey. Actually, in the top right is a little article from Make-A-Wish with me talking about my journey from being a former wish kid to now being an intern and helping other wish kids. This is something that's deeply, deeply personal to me, and I just think that it's one of my most meaningful service experiences. The last pillar, my fourth top scholar pillar that I like to add every year, is just fun stuff I did, so things that helped me de-stress. This is food in Peru. I'm a big food guy. I don't know if y'all can tell, but I got a lot of good food in Peru. This is something we made. It's like an apple pie-ish kind of thing. a lot of different meals. That's Lomo's Saltado right there. It was food. Peru was good for all the people and everything that I learned and all the people I met. The food was also fantastic, and I'm a big food person. And this is, it says friends, fishing, and golf. So my presentation this year was about golf. Obviously, I had to put some golf pictures with me and my friends. I love fishing. Every year there's going to be a fish on my presentation. So there's a few fish that I caught this year, and just friends. And in the bottom right is, we wanted to play basketball in Peru, but we didn't have a basket, so we just nailed a chair to the wall and played with that. And that's all I had. Thank you so much.
Collin, you're always so creative in how you put together what you're going to present. I appreciate that. This was very clever. As always, you're doing just so many things. All you're doing all the things all the right way. So I will just say it's a pleasure to have you kind of continue to do all that. And this is my reminder that as a third-year student, particularly as someone interested in the area you're interested in, reaching back to work with your younger scholars. I think you definitely do that through Pre-Med Society and Corazon Clinic, but I'd love to see you do that a lot with scholars too. Our scholars continually tell us that that's what you all want. And so you're busy, you obviously have a lot going on. That doesn't happen unless you're very intentional about it. You're never just gonna happen upon. You know what I mean? It's just not gonna happen. You have too many things happening. But good job. It's a pleasure to continue to have you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I can't believe it's already been 3 years.
Time's really flying. What's up, Brianna?
I would just like to say, like, as one of the, I guess, younger scholars who's pre-med, thank you for all your help. You have genuinely, anytime I asked a question, Chloe would answer, and it was very helpful. And I know we all appreciate that very much, and we will continue to ask you a lot of questions. That's okay.
That means a lot, and please ask away. I have a lot to talk about. Trust me. I talk about it.
Yeah, very impressive.
What's up?
Well, I say I was on the Zoom the whole time, so I just got a class. But
Thank you.
I can tell that you're so like passionate about everything that you do, and the things that you do, I can see that you pick them for a reason, and they're not just on your resume. And I feel like that's so different than like your average pre-med. And like you said, like the mentorship that you give is crazy. Because I remember we were sitting at North Commons one time, and I was struggling with the Gen Chem 1 question, and you were studying for the MCAT, which is like arguably the most important exam of your undergrad, but you did take time out to like teach me the Gen Chem equation, and I really appreciate that because not a lot of people.
Thank you, Al. I appreciate it. What's up, Juan?
So I think it's very clear that you've already made a very big impact on the planet Earth and on humanity, genuinely, because you are changing lives. And I'm so happy that during your selection we were sitting together, and then during our last election together we were sitting together.
Full circle.
Exactly. And just seeing this presentation, and every time I see you talk about anything that you're doing, it's so motivational, and it makes me want to do like even more things. And it's just like, damn, like I need to get like Collin, bro. Like I need to start doing more things. But I'm so proud of you, and I'm so happy that you've found your niche and a big sense of purpose, whether that be through an internship or golf.
Thank you. That means a lot. And you're doing so much. So like, I don't even know what to say. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Good job. Good job. I also really appreciated what you had to say about sustainable service. Like I think that's as as we mature both professionally as well as kind of just as citizens and in good community, that's something to recognize,
Right.
And many would even say that's a distinct difference. Volunteering versus service is some sort of sustainability or longer term sort of impact. So
Yeah, I think like over the years, as I've gotten the chance to like have some leadership positions, I think it's like a bit easier just from like, leadership perspective, just because you can do more things. But yeah, it's something I definitely noticed this year that didn't really think about so much in the past.
Yeah, it's also one of the things that as you move into like leadership positions, especially professionally, a key sign of that is whether you do it yourself or whether you're able to engage others to positively accomplish things. Because at some point, you're not going to be able to do it all by yourself. It just physically becomes impossible. And so how can you influence others to still be able to accomplish, whether that be for service or, you know, maybe even just on the job, sorts of things. But with service, you can't just order someone to do something, you know? So that's a distinct, if you're going to be a good leader, you have to be able to do that.
Right, right.
Yeah, so good job.